Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Railroader Academy. I'm your host, Casey. Usually, right now, I'd introduce my co host, Nick Ozerak, but he's out of town for his real job this week, so we're not going to be introducing him. So you just have Professor Casey tonight, but that's okay. We're completely in my wheelhouse. We're talking about shortline railroading. This is Shortline Railroading 102, and we're going to talk about what makes a short line and kind of how they operate and uh, almost all of my real world railroading experience comes from working on short lines, places where we'd be running 3 freight trains a week and they'd have, I don't know, maybe 4 cars on them. So, definitive short line railroading to its core. That was kind of my bread and butter for a long time while doing steam and passenger stuff as a part of that. So we're down here at the smelter with our Climax Schmelty. And we're going to be doing a lot of interchange work with the AM and W tonight. The Schmelter kind of works as its own independent railroad, where it's picking up cars at Plateau Yard from other trains, bringing them down, loading them, unloading them, and what have you, and making sure they get back up for the next train to come out. So shortly, we've just about to give permission to our first train of the night to depart, and that is Extra 31 North. Because I am dispatching tonight, as always, along with doing everything else. So, Extra 31 North, you have permission to depart. Your train orders board is up at Hill Valley.
Copy that. Extra 31, okay to depart, Hill Valley.
And while they're departing Hill Valley, I'm going to get started going up the hill myself. I'm going to kick off my brake and start giving her a little bit of throttle to get rolling. Mad AC, good evening to you too. Welcome. Alright, and kick off the cylinder cocks. Good railroader, I should probably check my train. I want to make sure this train's nice and bunched going up the hill. And I didn't check my pins earlier, so I'm doing that now.
So,
Get that throttle all the way out. So we got a pretty stiff grade here. Right there on the cusp of slipping with this thing. I'm gonna adjust my audio. Let me know how that sounds for you guys, if that's okay. I was messing with my audio a bunch over the week, so it's a little screwy playing other games. Hey, 67777 Productions, thanks for the sub, much appreciated. What's up, Squiggy?
so I assume train 300 will depart after Extra 31?
Yeah, after Extra 31 returns, 31 South.
Okay.
Since we only got you guys tonight, and 300's gonna need we'll need a helper, so make everything easy on you guys.
Alright, so I guess I'll ride with Extra 31 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping you were gonna. It's kind of lonely.
Yep. All right, I'll get the stove going.
So we're shoving hard up the hill here, and as a short line, there's many different types of short lines. Short line just simply refers to how much traffic you have over the course of the year. That's how they determine what's a class 1, what's a class 2, what's a class 3, and class 3 are your short lines. So it's all about how many cars we move. I guess you can make the argument that the whole of the AM and W, the whole of Railroads Online, you're basically a short line railroad. But operationally, the way the AM and W, the Ahsokan, Mohawk, and Western, our home road here, grew is it became kind of a class 2, a class 1, whatever you want to call it. It's the main railroad, and the smelter operations evolved to become its own separate entity from that. So it operates almost as its own road. It operates as its own short line. Do we move 1,000 cars a year? No. Do we move... I mean, I don't think... we probably move 1,000 cars a year in Railroads Online. What I'm saying is, it doesn't really get a ton of traffic. So I like to think it kind of merits being considered a short line. And what we're doing as a short line is we're interchanging. We're taking cars from a bigger railroad where it doesn't pay for them to run a job somewhere and then deliver it to an industry. It's easier, or industries. It's easier for them to drop it off somewhere else and let someone else deal with it. And that can be done a number of ways. The short line I worked for was a terminal railroad. And that basically came down to money stuff. It was, it came down to billing. So NS would bill this company to deliver the car all the way to its doorstep. We'd get a flat rate of that for moving it on our railroad. Distance didn't matter. It was flat rate. This is how much we get paid to move each car. So it was beneficial for us to operate that way. But we were a terminal railroad. And that's more how the smelter operations work here, is it's a terminal railroad. So we're getting cars, we're delivering them to a single industry, we're bringing them back. The short line I worked for was 15 miles long. We were a terminal railroad that was 15 miles long. When you think terminal railroad, you usually think like the Cleveland Union Terminal Railroad, right? The CUT, the cut. But that's just one way a terminal railroad could function. So, according to my waybills, these cars need to get dropped off at Plateau Yard for the AM and W to pick up. They're also bringing me 8 cars to deal with. And in my waybills, that's going to tell me what cars need to go where, and get delivered to where. Now, the way we do it's a little weird, because we share a yard up there, and the smelter operations are the yard switcher operations for the railroad. So it gets a little bit funny in there, but not too terrible. You'll see as we go through it. 6777. The CUT doesn't... I don't even think it exists anymore. That's just the first thing that popped into my head, weirdly enough. I couldn't say I knew why. If Nick were here, he could probably give you a ton of terminal railroad examples that exist, but I don't know. I know my short lines in my area that I worked for, that I interchanged with, and so on and so on. I just knew my particular one was... We were classified as a terminal railroad as far as NS was concerned. But we were still considered a short line. We were a part of the Shortline Railroad Association. Jeff,
Extra 31.
Oh, go ahead, extra 31.
Just letting you know we're passing by meh.
Alright, extra 31 is through meh. And I'm just jotting down their passing times in my train register as they go through, so that way I have a vague idea of where they are as the dispatcher. As the Shortline Railroad, I'm supposed to have no idea where they are. And that's kind of the beauty of shortlining is you show up and there's magically cars at your interchange one day, and there's waybills with them. In the old days. Nowadays, when we get cars from NS, we do get a ping on our software side and be like, bonk, cars were delivered to your interchange, here are the car numbers, here are their reporting marks, here's what they're carrying, here's where they came from, here's where they're going, and we'd have to deal, and then we'd deal with them. And when we send them back to NS, we drop them off, we click a button on our little tablet and be like, bonk, we dropped them off, and NS would get a ping, and the next local out to our interchange yard would pick them up. And that's how they would build those, that's how we'd build our trains, is based on pings from Norfolk Southern. In the good old days that we are running in here, naturally there weren't tablets. Well, there were stone tablets, and they didn't do nearly as anything cool as what tablets do now. Though I suppose you could bash someone's head in with both of them. But yeah, you'd drop cars off at the local road, would drop cars off, and you'd have scheduled days when you were picking up cars, and when you'd pick up those cars, you'd have waybills attached in some fashion, either telegraphed over to your main office, or what have you. There was a way that they got the waybills to you, so that way, when you were running your train to go pick up from your interchange, you could see what cars you were getting, and how much of what, and what needed to go to where on your railroad, and all of that jazz. Hopefully you're all still with me, throwing a lot of information out early about short lines. Jeff's with our first, I call that a pun? Dad joke? First dad joke of the evening. Did you guys hear about the railway worker who survived the electric chair? He was a bad conductor. It's so terrible, I love it.
Kind of dark too, but good.
Well, no, he survived. It's not that dark.
By the way, dispatch, does Extra 31 also report, or should we also report that we have passed Pratt's cut?
No, you don't have to. You are going to be coming in on the long siding at Plateau, and I don't expect to be in a position to get your switches for you.
Understood.
Well, that's the wrong track, folks. Alright, let's get past that so we're not switching on the hill. Because who wants to switch on a 2% grade with a heavy train of raw iron? That sounds like disaster time. I'm going to end up having to pee in a cup if I do that, and we don't want to do that. There is no peeing in a cup allowed tonight. But this is Plateau Yard. We have arrived. We just got to get our train sorted out. It's a shared yard between the smelter with the CH and the AM and W. And the smelter operations handle almost all of the switching in the yard. And who switches out the interchange yard depends on the operation. One part of our railroad, NS would drop the cars off in their yard, we'd go out and pick them up. Another part of our railroad, NS would come onto our property, drop off the cars, and then we'd have to switch them out into the correct order they should be in and block them and make up trains and all of that. So it's depends on the railroad. There's no right or wrong way to do this. peeing in the cup is half the fun. Yeah, I've peed in enough cups for whether it's incident having to use the restroom because of a grade crossing accident, or if it was random. It was my turn to get pulled for random drug testing. I've peed in enough, and I've peed in a cup enough times that it just becomes a pain after a while. God, there was a couple times where, twice. There was twice where I got tapped for a random. And they don't call a person; they call a position. So that way they're not calling. That way they're not calling people. So it could be anybody. So it's not even me personally that got randomed. It was the position of fireman got randomed twice in a summer. To go for random drug screen, and I had just finished getting the steam engine fired up. Bank was broken out. The pressure was rising. I was trying to get all my oiling done so we can get out of the house and tie onto the train. And it was a hot July day. I just completely sweat through my overalls. It was like 200% humidity, 90 something degrees out. You could cut the air with a knife. And I got tapped to go for a random pee test, and I think I drank about a full case of water in the 20 minutes between getting the paperwork to go pee and finding out that I had to end up getting to the dock in the box to go pee in the cup. It was not an enjoyable time. Let me tell you that much. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to produce and pass the exam. But I did. I was able to fire. I was able to pee. But yeah, random drug screens, pee in a cups, they're not all they're cracked up to be. As fun of a joke as it is. And don't get me wrong, I do love the joke. I think it's fun. So, we're in this time period, we'd be running on timetable and train order, so I'd be able to look at my watch and say, alright, train is due in soon, though it's an extra, so I wouldn't know when it's due in. I'd probably head on over and talk to the operator on duty here at Plateau, find out when to be expecting this extra 31 in, so that way I can do my next moves. This is good luck timing. Hear them whistling for the yard.
Speaking of which, Extra 31 is approaching Plateau Yard.
Copy that. Extra 31 North approaching Plateau Yard. Assuming you got your own switch for the long siding, I got you lined into the yard track to arrive on.
Yep, we are rolling in now.
Alright, get that switch for me. And we'll hold number 20 up out of the way. And getting out of the way of a train is called getting in the hole. Cause you're... I don't know, there's probably some reason behind it. There's probably some good history reason why it's called the hole, but I don't know. It's called the hole. You're getting in the hole. You're out of the way.
I mean, the only historical reference I could probably think of would be like getting a hole in case there's an artillery strike.
Yeah. 6777. Have a good night. Hopefully we'll catch you on more of these. Have a good night. Thanks for subscribing again. Much appreciated.
Are we even going on the right track?
Yeah. Yep, once you guys are all the way in the hole there, you can bring her to a stop, pin off, and you got your raw iron. You see your raw iron car set out? If you check the
Yep.
waybills. Gonna be grabbing those.
Okay, looks like Caboose cleared the switch, so we should be good to stop anywhere.
Alright, and their stops on train register 7. 57. Why are you doing that? 7. 57.
Pin is pulled, engine 31.
PM. And you're formatting weird. Why are you formatting weird? This is the pains of dispatching at the same time as trying to do everything else. 7:57 PM. There we go. Alright, get that crawling ahead. That switch, I'll get your switch for you, 31. Switch is
Thank
lined,
you.
you're clear to head back up the long runner. Derby Possum, good evening. Welcome. And I would say this is prototypical of shortlining, where you're just doing groundwork for whatever crew is closest by, but there's actually quite a bunch of rules about doing that, because that's how accidents happen, of just not knowing who's actually on your crew or not. So not a prototypical shortline thing. Okay. Alright, oh, nope, not far enough. Come ahead just a little bit more. And far enough. Alright, got my Lincoln pin back there. Throw that all the way backwards. And here we go back onto our train. Now, question I'm sure you're all asking out there is, how do I know these are my cars? Well, I have a waybill for that. And, how we do waybills here is not traditional. Not. We did traditional waybills for a bit, and it was time consuming. It was very time consuming to create them. So what we ended up doing instead was doing kind of a modified system where it gives you your train number, cars in your train, where they're coming from, where they're going, what they're loaded with. And we do that in a spreadsheet as opposed to an individual card for each car. So let's take a look at our waybills for this train. So if I get out and into that, and then do that, you guys should be able to see my waybill now. Alright, and it's so huge it takes up the whole screen. So, there we go. Alright, so we're going to do it like that. So, I have cars 414, 410, 404, 401, 411, 416, 412, 415. I just dropped off 322, 327, 318, 321, 301, 325, 319, 317. Extra 31 is going to be picking those cars up from me. I'm taking those cars, these 400 series cars, from Extra 31. And they came from Hill Valley, and they're getting delivered here at Plateau. And, well, we see there's a little bit of funny business going on here. Some of them are going to the smelter. Some of them are going to Plateau Helper Terminal. So now I need to break up this train and get it set up so that way it can go to all of these places. So I'm going to find some scratch paper next to me on my desk, because I need to write this down so that way I don't forget. I don't have any... What is this? Is that important? That looks important. That's how you know you're doing stuff right, when you look at a piece of paper and you ask yourself, is it important? Is it important? I don't know. Alright, so what do we got here? We've got car 414, 410, 404, and 401 to the smelter. And I've got 411, 416, 412, and 415 to... This is going to the firewood depot up here. That's, as the operator for the area, I know what that means. So that's FD for firewood depot. And I'm holding up a piece of scratch paper that you guys can't see because I don't have a camera. But trust me, it's there. So let's go back to looking at railroads online. So what do we got here? We got 416, that's going to the firewood depot. 410, that's going to the smelter. Oh boy, you're gonna have a bit of switching here. 404, 401, 411, 414, 412, 415, and then a hack. Alright, so hack's not mine, so I'm gonna pull the pin, set the handbrake on it, and cut away. And do the handbrake there. Okay, so first car I need here is 414. I'm going to set a handbrake there, pull the pin there, and we're going to pull 414 and drop it on top of these wonderful wrought iron cars over there, because those also need to get delivered. And I have a waybill for that, just not readily available to pull up on stream. And probably need to get another handbrake here. It's probably on that end. It is definitely on that end. Alright, so now we're going to pull these cars, drop over 414, drop everything back over on top of my cars that are staying up here to go to the firewood depot, and then take care of everything else. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to write a train order.
Half a car 31.
Plateau yard to
Truck length.
Hill Valley. Make you complete. 8:05 p.m. under my authority. And back over here to the stream. And looks like I got 2 cars to go. Doing my own switching tonight. So we're gonna throw that brake on, run through the river. Got my waders on. Throw that, and what is the best way to move a car over everyone at home? Little Quizlet for the evening. What's the best way to get this car over on top of those iron ore cars? With the fewest number of moves possible. Throw your answers in the chat if you think you know what it is. And remember, there's no wrong answers here at the Virtual Railroader Academy. And while you guys are punching in your answers, I'm going to go ahead and, as the dispatcher, get this train order sent on over to my operator at Plateau Yard so they can give it to Extra 31.
You want to run back to Hill Valley, Squiggy?
I was about to ask. I think Extra 31 South is assembled, and we got markers. So I think we're ready to head south at your discretion.
All right. There is your train order, Extra 31 South. And at the same time, I am going to be a good dispatcher and fill out my train register. Now, what a train register is, it's a way of keeping track of where every train is on the railroad, by having it in a book of like what time they pass each location. And they're departing at 8:07 p.m. And for everyone in the chat who is saying kick the car, you are correct. We kick cars here on the railroad. Still a perfectly legal practice to this day, so long as you check the handbrake to make sure it is sufficient before doing it. And this is the rulebook word, not mine, retard the movement of the car. Probably better, slow the movement, control the movement, probably better way of saying it, but that's the rulebook definition. Alright, so now, next car I need over there, 411 is going that way, 401 I need. Alright, so we're going to kick 401, we're going to kick 411 down. This is where it helps to have a brakeman. And slam on that. That's a pitiful kick, but it'll get there. It's okay, that'll give me a chance to run up ahead, make sure I got links and pins. That truly was a pitiful kick. That's going to take like days to get there. This train will get made up 3 days from now by the time the 401 finally reaches it. Alright, there's no link and pin there.
Extra 31 South to dispatch. Do you want us to switch or normalize any other switches besides the or one for the long siding?
Just the one for the long siding as you cross.
Alrighty.
Okay, gotta get that pin. So it's 401, 404. So both of those cars. 410. Perfect. So I'm kicking all three of these. It makes life so much easier. Everyone in chat type and kick the car. I'm picturing it just like a game show of like, kick that car! It's a strange place in my head, folks.
I mean, hey, what if somebody did a parody of a Michael Jackson song? What the heck was it? Thriller or something? Kick it, kick it, kick it all day. Just saying, there could be a marketing for parody railroading songs.
Uh,
Maybe.
you know, if you're a great musician and you want to do parodies of railroading songs, reach on out at www.railroadsongparodies.com and we'll be in touch about making something happen. Alright, that's a way. Ooh, that is a tight clearance. Shh. Close that throttle there, and pull that pin there, and get my brake on.
Alright, now that Extra 31 South is on its way to Hill Valley, I'm gonna be AFK for a second. I'll be right back.
Alright, catch you in a minute, Squeaky. Alright, that's a much better kick. And donk. Look at that, it helped the original car get a little bit... Tell me that got double linked. Tell me that doesn't even have a link. Go us, right? Good job, team! Woo! Okay, so we got a train made up. Yeah, what's our next move now? Well, the conductor and me says we're gonna deal with these cordwood cars up here first. For 16, 411, 412, and 415. Alright, so we're gonna deal with these cars first, get them delivered and spotted to head out, and then we'll head down the railroad back to the smelter and get the rest of the train taken care of. Why that particular order? I find it's easier to... I'm already up here, I'm already touching those cars. I'm gonna get the work done and finished with that, so that way it's done and over with. And I just think, in my head, there's no right or wrong way of doing switching. But when I get back from doing all these deliveries, kind of the last thing I'm going to want to do is a ton of switching. I'm going to want to be able to drop my train off, cut away from my cars, and go home, and head out to the bar and grab a drink. Like any good railroader. So, yeah, we're going to... That's why I'm going to deal with the cordwood cars for the firewood depot first. I don't want to deal with switching when I get back from my long day out on the rails. Is it the right answer? Is it the wrong answer? I don't know. Is it the answer? Yes. And that's, well, counts for more than you think. Railroaders are notoriously lazy. Oh, and save myself a move later. I'm gonna grab that switch as we're going by it. And we're good on water in there. Coming around on a long runner here in the Plateau Yard. This is probably one of the last operating sessions here on the AM&W version 1. With the spline update coming out, which we're all very excited about here, because it means we can start doing bigger and better things once that's out. So we're excited about that, as I'm sure you guys are watching as well. It's a kind of a huge deal. We've been waiting for this optimization for God knows how long at this point. You know, we got some cool things in the works. We're gonna be able to really dive into dispatching timetable and train order. We're working on coming up with a way of, well, once we get the signs and we can get mileposts out, and everyone's seeing a consistent speed across across client and host, because that's, you know, that whole bug. Once that's sorted out, we're going to be doing real timetable and train order stuff. We're hoping to get in a real dispatcher to come and help teach that. And teach me how to dispatch, a timetable and train order guy. Well, BMAC, who plays with us here regularly, him and I are working on writing a true timetable for the AM and W with passing times for locations, and we're hoping to be able to have, 16 people on all run trains at the same time, two-man crews, and really get the railroad running and be able to talk about timetable and train order. We're hoping to be able to talk more about how steam locomotives work once the optimization comes out. Talk more about passenger train stuff. Really did spend the night switching out a yard with a yard master. Or not a yard master, guys I know who are yard crew for like NS or something like that. We've got some big things planned, and hopefully more guests too. Like that's the goal. You get tired of hearing me talk about how railroading works all the time. We're hoping to get guests. We're hoping to get more guests on, like Heiss, some friends from my tourist railroad that I work with to talk about steam engines. Friends who work for Amtrak to talk about passenger trains. Got some guys out west with narrow gauge to talk about more narrow gauge stuff. Maybe we'll start getting in. We're hoping to get into more history stuff too as new engines start appearing in the game. So the spline update's really going to increase what we're able to base our lesson plans around. And we can start moving out of the 100 level courses and start moving into the 200 level courses, and so on and so on. So we're really excited about that spline update here.
And we'll be able to go fast.
That too. Well, it appears I have a cut of cars rolling away. And if we remember from last week, we're not currently a train. Cause we don't have permission to leave the yard. We don't have markers. But we are a locomotive with or without a cut of cars. So we're that. We're a yard crew. I have a handbrake on here somewhere. See, I got caught monologuing, and just all of this is now a wreck. Not quite being a cup worthy, but a wreck nonetheless. But we're still on the tracks, so it's a high note, right, folks?
Extra 31 to dispatch.
Yeah, go ahead, 31.
We are passing by Meh southbound.
Extra 31 through Mass southbound at 8:18 in the PM. Alright, got our cars, got our handbrakes. And shall we try making this delivery again, folks? I think so. As always, if there's something you guys want to learn about that you haven't heard us mention, or you have heard us mention and you're really excited about that topic, drop it in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, go ahead, drop it in the comments. We do keep up with those comments and respond. I don't want to say daily, but we do respond. We do read them, we do take stuff into account. So go ahead, drop it in the chat. Let us know what you want to learn about. We'll add it to our list. And we do have an ever-growing list. So, we are open to suggestions. We want to cover the topics you guys want to hear about here on the Virtual Railroader Academy. And this is Railroaders Play Railroads Online.
Oh, by the way, I'm out of curiosity, what will the 200 level courses entail?
200 level courses are going to get into... We've kind of been talking top level about all of this stuff. So, like, train operations, 200 level would be timetable and train order. And really digging into the rule book. And I don't want to say it would be a rules class, but it'd be kind of a rules class.
Okay.
Of really diving into the rulebook, what everything means, and as we're coming upon those situations on the railroad, pulling open our rulebook and talking to, and finding what rule applies and how we go about using it. So that's like a 200 level course. Dispatching, 200 level course. for sure, because that gets into some really heavy stuff very quickly. We've been talking very top level dispatching. 300, 400 level stuff, we're hoping to maybe start hosting community nights with a raffle system, and for those courses it's more of I don't want to call it a capstone course or a seminar, but it's more of get your hands dirty and show us what you've learned by watching these, how to apply it to doing it. Or, we're not going to make a railroader out of you doing this, because train sims are good. This is one of the better ones, and you can learn a lot from it, but it doesn't quite completely capture railroading. We're hoping that doing this, you get just a little bit more knowledge, so that way, if you do start volunteering for a tourist railroad or a museum, you know just a little bit more than the new guy coming in, fresh off the street, and it'll help you move up just a little bit quicker. We don't know it all. I don't know it all. Squee doesn't know it all. Hospital doesn't know it all. Nick doesn't know it all. Heist doesn't know it all. We're all always learning, and that's the important thing to keep in mind, especially around steam engines, is you're always learning.
Yeah, nobody here is a know-it-all.
Yep.
That's why I like getting guests in, because I learn stuff. Having a heist on a couple weeks ago, learning about double heading. My railroad we don't double head our steam engines, so I've never gotten to experience that. So how can I accurately talk on that with authority? So I learned some stuff from it. It was good information.
Extra 31 to dispatch. Which track in Hill Valley are we going to? Or at the throat?
1.
1.
Arrival 1. Furthest one from
Arrival
everything.
1. So arrival track closest to Freight Depot.
Furthest from Freight Depot.
Farthest from Freight Depot.
Alright, and we're gonna line that guy. This is, Hill Valley, going back to our yard design workshop. Our Plateau's got a better layout than Hill Valley. The only thing I don't like is to get over to the yard tracks, you do kind of have to zigzag. I kind of wish we put a switch. Kind of wish we put a crossover switch out in that general area somewhere, but c'est la vie, this is where the crossover switch is. Wasn't really intended for switching, the crossover switch. It was intended for being able to still work the smelter branch and bring trains into the hole on the long runner. So that's why it is where it is. And you'll notice I didn't blow the whistle for that crossing or ring the bell. It is a railroad access road, so we don't blow the whistle there. Technically you're supposed to ring the bell, but don't tell anyone. I don't want to have to go for a post-incident P-test. And get this thing down to a crawl. And if you do want to see a map of where we are, go ahead and type !tree into the chat, and that'll bring you to our link tree. From there you can find our minis work, which you'll be able to zoom in on and see the layout of Plateau Yard, see the layout of the smelter, and you'll get a better understanding of where we are as we're doing all of this. I think 4 cars will fit there. I hope 4 cars will fit there. Is it going too fast? Nah, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, fine. Don't worry. Everyone take a deep breath. We're okay. How railroading works, don't panic. Just don't panic. You
Well,
look at it, you go, and then everything's okay.
well, we're still getting accustomed to the new setup at Hill Valley.
You guys didn't cross over at Woods, did you?
Nope. We can still get to Arrival 1.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of zigzagging, isn't it?
Yep, just a little.
And if you guys haven't seen our yard design and use workshop, you can check that out on YouTube. I talked smack about my own yard for 2 hours and did something about it the next day. And we'll hopefully end up back there tonight to work another Shortline job here on the AM&W, the Woods branch. Depending on timing, we're hoping to get there. But, we'll see. And it's a different style of Shortline, how it's laid out and how it interchanges with the AM&W. So we'll get an idea of how that works, hopefully later. And you'll get to see how Hill Valley Yard was completely rearranged overnight to provide for better operations. Alright, and I got 3 cars to go. 2 cars. 1 more car. And take a bigger bite here. And go all the way with the independent. And, oh, nope, I gotta go to switch before I can start going ahead. I don't have a... See, here I am acting like I have a brakeman. Alright, now we can go ahead. That worked out.
Alright, extra 31 south.
That switch. Go ahead, extra 31 south.
We have arrived at Hill Valley.
Copy that, extra 31 south at Hill Valley Yard. 8:28 p.m. Okay, and next out is train 300. And they don't have a train order because they are a scheduled train. Alright, I gotta run around and get my switches because I'm being my own brakeman tonight. Usually, short-line crews, we'd be working... with the diesel, we'd work 2 to 3 man crews, engineer, conductor, brakeman. And it gets cool, especially once you get hand signals involved in the mix. Cause you could really start to communicate with hand signals, and I've done some switching with steam engines and tank cars, actually, where great combo, where we were the conductor would stay with the train, and I, as the brakeman, would be down at the switch, and it was a main and a passing track, and we had to completely reblock the train. And blocking is putting the cars into an order, whatever order they need to be in for deliveries. So we got in, we were reblocking our train. And we had it pretty much parallel to each other. So we were building the train on one track, and it was next to the stuff on the previous track as we were. So the conductor was just cutting cars away, and pointing at me to throw me the signal, and I'd give the engineer the go ahead, bring him ahead with the steam engine up to me, give him the stop, throw the switch, give him the backup, and then point at the conductor, who at that point had who walked on over the tracks as the train was pulling ahead of him, got onto the side I was on, the track I was on, the runaround, and was giving the engineer a hand signal and received my, just pointed him to throw the move to him, and took over the move and was giving hand signals back to get the train, to build the train. And it was just a lot of fun. It was real steam railroading in its earnest. I love it. I miss doing freight. It's some of the most fun I have on the railroad. Passenger gets a little tiring after a while. But we are going to get these cars kicked down to head on out on the next train. And the most effective way to move them over is what, folks? Kick that car! That's right. Alright, so we want this switch thrown. Yeah. Remember, kicking cars is a totally legal practice currently.
Yep.
What's
Kicking cars are.
Kicking
It's
cars.
flying switches. Yep, it's flying switches you gotta watch out for.
Exactly. And what's the difference between kicking a car and flying a switch? For those of us watching at home, go ahead, drop your answer in the chat, and we'll see who's right. Little Quizlet time. Pop quiz, everyone. God, I don't miss pop quizzes as a student. One of the things I'm doing when I'm teaching firemen or brakemen at my railroad is giving them little pop quizzes as we're going on along through the day on some of the book side of stuff. Trying to make sure that they're reading. It's not assigned books because we don't have assigned books, but strongly recommended reading like Basic Steam Locomotive Maintenance, Hand Firing of Locomotives, all really good books for learning about steam engines. And like I'll give firemen little pop quiz, student firemen little pop quizzes on combustion. What do you need to make fire, and seeing if they can get the 3 properties of fire. And if you know the 3 properties of good fire at home, go ahead and type that in the chat as well. We'll see if we get it right. For anyone out there who's reads steam locomotive firing manuals, it should be a pretty easy one for you. 3 things you need to make a fire. Now I'll get this run around our train and start heading down the hill.
So, Hostler, are we taking 31 back to the ready track?
Yeah, we probably should take her over there so you can get serviced and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to leave that with the compressor off and start dropping the fire.
Copy that.
Which, if you guys didn't know watching at home, I don't want to call it a bug because I don't think it's a bug, but physics intense thing. If you do have a lot of steam engines and they all have pressure and air built up, they will bog down your machine if they're all fired up and have their air compressors running at the same time. Same thing with headlights. Headlights also eat away at the FPS of the machine. So if you're trying to save your computer just a little bit, let your engine pressure, let them drain on down to 0 PSI, and turn your compressors off. Use the handbrake on your tender to hold stuff still. It'll make your computer run a little bit faster. And it's also realistic. You know what? We don't leave steam engines. Well, we do leave steam engines hot overnight. That is true. But we definitely don't leave the air compressors on. I can tell you that much. Well, at least in my railroad, we don't. I'm sure at some railroads they leave the air compressors on overnight. I don't know. Maybe like some of that mainline stuff, like 765, they leave the air pumps running overnight with their night watch crew. I don't know. don't work for those guys. I can only tell you what we do at my railroad. Oh. Back them up. Alright, we're going to walk back, check our handbrakes along the way, and head on down the smelter branch. Now, I'm sure you're probably asking at home, well, don't you need a train order for yourself? Are you a scheduled train? How do you have permission to leave the yard? And that's the thing. I don't have permission to leave the yard because I'm not leaving the yard. We are staying inside yard limits. The entire smelter branch is yard limit territory. Because then the smelter railroad can run as many trains as they want, as often as they want, without needing a dispatcher. They can just run a train. So, that simple. So, hence, we're not a train. We're a yard job. Plus, we are a locomotive with or without cars. We still don't have permission to leave the yard, and we're also not carrying a marker. Not a train. We're a yard job. We're staying in the yard. And that's getting a little bit technical, I guess, to say we're not a train, because we're a train. We're not a train by rulebook definition. And probably also wondering why I have the engine on the end that I do, when before I was running with the shoving up the hill. And usually I like running with the engine on the downhill side in case there is a problem and cars run away. At least it's up against something I know that has a really good brake. And yeah, we're doing quite the opposite of that. We're shoving down the hill with the engine. On the hind end. Alright, a little bit of train handling. While we're doing this, I see that my end of my train's getting onto the hill, so I'm going to want to let that pull me. So as I start to feel I'm going to shut off all the way. I've already done that. Leave that cracked a little bit. So that way I know I'm lubricating my cylinders, my valve gear. And as I feel it start to pull me, I come off the flats here. My whole train's on the hill. Got, yeah, pretty heavy cars here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of independent. Set up a little bit. Psht. Playing like I have a 6 brake. I'm just kidding. I'm not that crazy, guys. Only a little crazy. You know, I'm a railroader. I'm a little bit insane. It's allowed.
Ain't we all?
Oh yeah. I don't know a railroader who hasn't made an air brake joke in their car when they're driving. I was with the CMO one time coming back from a Home Depot run, and you know, we were in the car, we're coming up to a red light, and I hear him go, psht. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And as we're slowing down more, psht. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And that's when it clicked in my head. He's pretending to take applications with an imaginary brake, and making the air release noise every time you take a set and then put it in the lap. I'm like, you're crazy. You know, he's doing it to make me think that he's crazy, to get like a laugh out of me. But like, he's not the only. I've told that story to other people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, like so and so's done that to me. I've done that to someone before," and apparently it's a thing. So I'm not crazy for taking imaginary applications. Well, they're real applications, but they don't make a noise.
I admit to doing that too.
See? Hostler,
Yep.
We're not crazy, right?
Not at all. Everybody else is crazy for not doing it.
Is it?
Release that a little bit.
Is it a different kind of crazy? If I do it when I'm when no one else is with me in the car.
Yeah, no, I've done that too.
Ah.
I mean, shoot, whenever I'm going up a hill and I really got to put the throttle down, I go do a little choo 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 choo. I mean, hell, I put a train horn in the back of my pickup, so there you go.
Ah.
There we go. Finally found the hitbox for the fire. Took me a little bit, but we got there. Alright, I'm gonna kick that brake off all the way now.
So, Hostler, how's your end of Train 300 doing?
We're just getting up to pressure now. We have the waybill and clearance to depart.
Train 300, you have clearance to depart when you're ready. You have one set out. That one empty stake flat is getting dropped at Plateau Yard. And you also pick up your helper here, which is not fired up or ready. Sorry about that. I got caught monologuing and started going down the hill before I could get your engine ready for you, and be kind.
Yeah, that's alright. Alright, okay. Departing Hill Valley.
Alright, copy that. Train 300 departing Hill Valley. And we're gonna pose here and get a screen grab for a title card for the YouTubes of our train coming around the Dev Bridge. Or as we call it, the double Dev Bridges. Because there's two bridges and they're both the Dev Bridge style. Alright, well, I gotta run across the valley there and try and catch my train. And this is also realistic. Shortline railroading at its best. Run and go grab your train. And you can see the smelter complex here, courtesy of Rudy Lowry, our resident in-house designer, industrial designer. That's what happens when you leave them alone. The smelter got an upgrade and increase to its square footage. Does it look beautiful? Yes. Does it hurt my FPS and my spline count? Also yes. Am I complaining? No. So it does look gorgeous.
Train 300 to dispatch.
Yeah, go ahead, 300.
Any switches we need to normalize as we're leaving Hill Valley?
Nope, everything should get left for the departure yard.
Alright. So it looks like switches will be left for departure 3 then.
Beautiful.
In that case, dispatch, Hostler, should I run over to Plateau to get the helper fired up?
You can if you want. I was honestly wondering if when we pull in the Hill Valley, we're gonna have to do a little bit of switching. You could probably just throw some wood in as soon as we get there.
That's true.
I mean, the engines are cold and no pressure.
Oh, just run a steam line between 39 and the helper, fill the boiler up with steam, and ought to help.
Yeah.
Yep.
I understood that. Alright, we're just gonna ride these raw iron cars down. And hopefully I didn't take too big of a set on that. Not raw iron, iron ore cars. I'm gonna ride these down. And this is called dropping a car. Usually you wouldn't be doing that at 15 miles an hour. You'd usually drop a car at like 15, or not 15, 5. But you know, what's 10 miles an hour between friends? get my handbrake on and start slowing this down. So that's a 3% grade there. The entirety of the smelter line is only 2%, 1% in places, 2% after the double dev bridges, and then 3% around this horseshoe. So I'm just gonna take a little pinch here with the handbrake and get these things slowing down. And we'll take care of unloading these after we deliver the cordwood. And this is conductor. This is how a short line would do it. The only place I had a huge hill, I did not like dropping cars. Mostly because the last time someone dropped a car there, it went like 3 cars past the end of track. So, yet not a fan of dropping cars down a hill. If I'm working in a bowl where it goes uphill, then yeah, I'll drop a car. In fact, if the runarounds are both full, we will shove the car uphill back into the siding, and then run around, and then release the handbrake and let the car roll past us to run around.
Train 300 to dispatch. We have left Hill Valley Yard northbound.
Copy that. Train 300 out, leaving Hill Valley northbound. This whole yard was actually set up for single-player operations. As you can... Yeah, it may be obvious. Alright, hopefully those 2 handbrakes will bring that to a stop. Let me go and grab my climax. Which has brought itself to a stop, so that works. Kick off the brake, and let's shove her back. If you folks at home have any questions about how shortline railroad operations work, feel free to let us know. Do check out our link tree by typing !tree in the chat, or just going to our bio and clicking on the link tree button, and find out more information about the AM and W, our rulebook, our map, a mini Zwerg of it even, so that way you know where you are on the railroad along with us. That's going a little too fast. That's going to hit hard off of there. We may have a derailment, folks. Get ready. Get your cameras out. Well, that was cute. Alright, is everything still on the tracks? I think we can pull through that. What do you guys think? We can pull through that? Alright, well, I'm sure the smelter's going to be putting in another order of cordwood fairly soon here with the AM and W, so there'll be another train coming out. Oh, I imagine very quickly.
Train 300.
We were not able to pull through that. Go ahead, 300.
We have just been passing by Meh northbound.
Train 300 passing Meh northbound. And we'll go ahead and jot that down in our train register. 8:51 p.m. Alright, next place to do through is Plateau. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll even get both trains going across the double dev bridges at the same time. That's always a treat. But we'll see how lucky we are. We've got quite a bit of switching to do still. It can't always be about cool operation moments. Does have to be some real railroading in here occasionally. As much as we all hate that. We just want the cool moments. But, yeah. So we're running trains. Alright. Got my 4 cars unloaded, pulling ahead. And yeah, as the operator here for the smelter, they're going to be definitely ordering another cut of cars fairly soon. So we better get these back up to Interchange so that way when the next day come in, they can just swap them between the 2 trains. They could just the AM and W can take my empty 8s and I can grab 8 off the AM and W that are loaded. Do I know when that's gonna be? I don't know. Definitely not tonight. But smelter operations will be continuing as they do. It's a fun little, I want to call it a branch, but it's a fun little terminal railroad to run. I greatly enjoy it. And set up. Yeah, set up the independent. Close enough.
I'm gonna go grab something to eat. I'll be right back.
Alright, we're gonna pull that pin, drop these cars down. Cost. Is railroading any fun if we're not dropping cars? No. Okay, what's going on here? Is there a handbrake? Handbrake, handbrake. Yeah, that's a big handbrake. Alright. Grab the pen on that. We're gonna grab that switch. And we're gonna let these roll by. Throw the switch, climax will go past us, run around. Yeah, we'll pull through, unload these iron ore cars. And, yeah. Head back up the hill. And unfortunately, we're not going to get the awesome shot of both trains going across the double dev bridges together. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's okay. That's going to work out in our favor. But we can still go and rail fan a bit, if everyone's cool with a little bit of rail fanning. And, where's that second bridge? There we go. Off in the distance there, we can see train 300 going across the upper bridge of the double dev bridges. That's a beautiful whistle salute. Yeah, it's so cool. I love that as a scenic spot on the railroad. If we put it in the Nick's voice of the model railroader aspect, it's a good scene. It's a good railroad. It's a good model railroad scene. The tiered bridges, and for different lines, for different reasons, so it has a purpose. It's beautiful. I like it. I'm happy we did that. honestly. Stuff to think about as you're building your own railroad is not only make it railroady, but also include those fun elements for yourself of like, oh man, this is cool. I wish I was seeing this in real life. Because we like those gorgeous railroad moments. You know, who doesn't love Helmstedter's Curve, right? Helmstedter's Curve is just gorgeous, but that's case in point a beautiful railroad moment. Or Georgetown Loop. I mean, Georgetown Loop is stupid crazy, but it's a good railroady moment.
Train 300 to dispatch.
Yeah, go ahead, 300.
Do we want to pull into the long siding like last time?
Dealer's choice on this one.
Okay.
Just make sure you're setting out that, the Plateau Yardmaster is requesting that the empty flat car gets set out on the, first run-through track, closest to the long runner.
Alright.
As, by request of, Plateau Yardmaster.
Yep. Understood. So, Hostler, how do you want to do this?
And we'll let them figure this stuff out, folks. We'll just sit tight, enjoy the switching maneuvers going on.
Guess we can go down the main.
I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why I'm running through the industry without unloading. And because I'm going to pull through to the last car, set my throttle, and start walking slowly up the hill. And since I got to do engineer and brakeman, I'm doing a little bit of setup so that way I can make this move a little bit easier on myself. I'm going to have to pull past it anyway. So might as well pull past it, work slowly through it, up the hill, unloading as we go. So as the engine passes me, train's moving at a working speed. I can hoop myself back up onto the engine, open up the throttle, and get back up the hill. All about how to save yourself as many moves as possible. Shortline railroading, big railroading. But it's, make your life easy. Work harder, work smarter, not harder, is the saying. Okay.
Does it matter which mogul we take for helper?
Whichever one has the most fuel right now.
Okay.
Alright, so I got good set with my throttle there. As we start working ourselves back up the hill. And once this is done, the smelter operations are done for the evening, so we'll pop back on over to Hill Valley Yard and go out on the woods line, the woods branch, and talk about how that's kind of short line railroading, but it's a branch of the AM&W and what makes that different. Oh, look at that. Last ones were dropping right as we crossed over the platform. That is what I like to call good work. Alright, throttle set. And where we go up the hill. You know, run back on over. Yeah. Right. And I'm going to a little bit more of the smelter complex. Down in here we have Son of Schmelty, our little Porter 040, and Schmeltopolis. There is a Class 70 down here. I don't know why. And it's the smelting. It is the Smelter Smelting Company. And there's also a caboose down here. I don't know. Our great Rudy Lowry was the one who created the complex. And, you know, you can see the smelters really growing as an industry here on the AM&W. It's become quite a wealth. You know, the smelter does a lot of work on railroads online. You need the smelter to get a lot of other things done. And by God, if you aren't moving a ton of raw iron out of here to get yourself pipes made to keep up with the pipe demand at the refinery, at the oil field, my God, so many pipes, so much raw iron. I feel like I'm always moving that as an industry, not as an industry, as a commodity.
And where do you want this empty flat?
The first run-through siding, closest to the long runner.
Copy that.
And now that we're shoving back uphill, you can see that I have my train set up so that once it comes back up the hill and catches up to me, you'll see that I have the train set up to shove up the hill and put the power at the bottom as the strongest brake. Because I did the move where I needed it to be on the opposite end. I made it work for me. Now that I have that out of the way, got the train together the way I prefer to have it, and we're storming back up the hill. And it's over there in the distance, like there-ish. But I'm letting it run ahead of me, or I'm running ahead of it, and I'm gonna go check my switches for Hill Valley Yard since I'm not Hill Valley Yard, Plateau Yard, since I'm a one-man crew, and hopefully no Lock-Megantic accidents happening here. Too soon? Too soon? I don't think it's too soon. One-man crews are bad. No, this is not a PSR.
No MMA.
No. Nope. They've been memed a lot lately again.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, can you blame them? They're like the staple of what not to do.
They're all over the meme lord foamer shitpost Facebook page. So they're getting memed pretty heavy again.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like, wow, why are we... This is a thing again? Why is this getting brought back up?
Is it like the anniversary or anything?
No. Just, it's come back up and through conversation.
Like Metal Gear Rising, I suppose.
Alrighty, let's see, what do we have going on up here at Plateau Yard? Oh, you can see train 300 there in the distance. Get my switch there for our engine pocket track. That's where Schmelty's going to be going once we're done with her. get that switch there. We'll get that switch there. Alright, cordwood cars are going to come up the hill there. That's good.
Okay, then.
What?
Well, that happened.
You good?
Apparently.
Did your switch get thrown under you?
No, the switch was against me, and
Oh.
I tried stopping and kind of re-railed over the switch.
Is your compressor on?
Compressor's on.
Oh. That's it. You heard it here, folks. Spring switches in Railroads Online. We just saw it happen live. Please, nobody clip that and post it. Confuse the masses.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. Don't do that. We like the developers of the game. We're friends with them. We don't want to give them too much aggravation and grief. Alright, I see my train sneaking around. Curved Bridge. That's the unofficial name for it. And approaching Last Bridge. Also the unofficial name for it. Oh, moving at the speed of smell. The climax is. I'm gonna run down and meet it. Start getting myself set up. So what we're gonna do is our favorite move. Kick that car. That's right. We're gonna kick these cordwood cars into the rest. And shove the hoppers in. Next track over. Not next track over, 2 tracks over. That'd be stub 3. Yeah, it says 8 hoppers is a long way to walk. Now we're not allowed to kick cars or fly switches downhill, but we are allowed to kick cars and fly switches on the uphill. If you do it on the downhill, you risk running something down the hill. If you do it on the uphill, it just rolls back into you. Or it also rolls back downhill. Guess it depends on where the engine is. If the engine's on the downhill side, then it's okay. Plus it can just run into the engine. Unless your engine runs away from you. Probably best not to kick cars or fly switches on near any steep grade, really. You know, excitement. Alright, so I'm looking for those cars to see them going around that bend and off the switch onto the flats. Yeah. I'm like leaning in my chair, like if I lean out further I'll be able to see more. It's like I'm not on a real train. Alright, far enough. Slam my brake. Let those get ahead of me. Alright, got those lined to come on in. second pin from you. Run on up here and check out our situation. There's nothing in there. And there's nothing in there. Alright, we're gonna ride these guys in the rest of the way. Look at that, there's train 300. We saw them going across the double diff bridge a little bit earlier. A little bit ago. Bonk.
Gonna need to use the restroom. I'll be back.
Okay.
And set a handbrake there. And run back to my power. Run, 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 run. And shut that guy off. Grab that. And right as this is about to stop, I'm going to pull the pin. And let the cars roll in and bunch themselves up. That way we got a nice bunch train stored. In order to go on out. And as part of the SOP, the standard operating practices for the smelter job here. How's our fire looking? Yeah, we'll get a little bit more fuel in here. That's enough. Like I said, it's good to let your engines in the game work themselves out of steam. Cause it helps your frame rates. So we're gonna let her do just that. Throw that switch, that way we go into that track. And as part of our SOP here on the smelter job, we're going to grab the hack for this cut of cars, for these hopper cars. And we're gonna make up train 200, which is the AM&W train that departs out of here. And get some switches from myself as I'm running along here. And back to my engine, kick the reverser forward. And hotly debated topic is it a reverser or is it a Johnson bar? And I say it depends on what it is. If it is air assist or steam, what? No, I got the wrong switch. If it's air assist to help you throw it, it is a reverser. If it is directly linked to the valve gear and there is no assistance to help move it, it is a Johnson bar. And I stand by that. So call it a reverser. This is a Johnson bar. So kick the bar forward, toss our switch, and knock off our brakes, and here we go ahead. On up to grab our hack. Got the mainline train sitting, waiting on engineer to get back from using the facilities in the Plateau depot. Talking with the dispatcher, or the local tower operator. Find out what's going on the railroad. Probably stop to get a cup of coffee along the way too. You know how those guys are. Maybe you don't know how those guys are. Railroaders like coffee. All about the cup of coffee. Especially Shortline. On the steam engine, we'd keep a kettle on one of the railroads and a French press whenever I was working with the CMO. And we'd throw the water on to boil on the back head, and we'd make coffee about halfway through the day with the French press. Is that bougie for railroaders? Yes. Was it the easiest way to make coffee while out on the road? Also, yes. Um, don't knock it. Coffee is life. Railroads run on coffee. America runs on Dunkin'. Railroads run on whatever dirty bean water is around. Okay, I thought
I
that was
mean,
funny.
hell, I reheated a pizza in the firebox once. Only took about 10 seconds.
I would do pizza in the firebox all the time. Not even in the
Ooh.
firebox. If we had the jump seat in one of the Mikados, it wedges in on the gangway. Not the gangway. It wedges in right by the door going out onto the running board. So if you put, and it's big enough for a pizza box to fit on the jump seat. So if you put pizza on there, it'll heat itself up and kind of like convect it over the course of the day to keep it warm. So I would always do pizza like that. Though at that time we also did have a pizza place in the parking lot, so it was really convenient. We'd call ahead into the ticket window on the radio, order a pizza, and just pick it up on our once we get back in. And a couple of times they were like, "Oh, we gotta heat up the pizza for you," and I was just grabbing a slice and be like, "No, no, it's okay. I got a bigger oven. I'll heat it up myself." No, I'm not a fan of cooking on the scoop. They're dirty, very acidic from all the coal. So I'm
It
never
adds
much of a.
flavor.
It's a
Ugh.
lot of flavor.
I mean, the shovel is great for when you're trying to make bacon and eggs. So you get the bacon on the top part and you get the eggs on the bottom where it curves up. That's perfect.
I've never done that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I do a lot of cooking on the turret. Did bratwurst one time.
I reheated a ham and egg sandwich on a hydrostatic lubricator once in a while.
Nice. Yeah, I'd put um, wrap up food in foil and put it on top of the turret to heat up. Did tacos like that one time. Everyone thought I was crazy. And I was, cause tacos not a good food on a steam engine.
Ooh.
It's hard to eat.
Well, Nevada Northern published a book called The Fireman's Cookbook, right?
I I've seen that. I've yet to buy it.
Yeah, same here. Okay, Squiggy, whenever you're ready.
Yep. I've lined all the switches heading out, so we should be good.
All right, get that pin there. Let's go get the old schmelty away. And do a little bit of rail fanning here. Watch a 300 depart and start storming up the hill. And they have one of the stiffer grades on the railroad. They got a nice 4% section heading up towards the iron ore mine.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got a nice stiff grade. They're going to need both moguls for that short 12-car train. Especially for that 4% section. It's the ruling grade's 3% on that line. They've got a short, what we call the 4% bridges. 2 bridges at 4%. Unless they were laid by someone who didn't know what they were doing. It's going to be so cool when the sound carries more and everything's in sync to the valve motion instead of just your speed. And you can hear further away. And we could really sit here and hear the train hammering out of town. That's a fun run going up to the iron ore mine. I really enjoy it. I enjoy all the runs here. Iron ore mine holds a special place in my heart, though. No, that's such a cool. That's a cool moment right here. This is.
Oh.
You good?
No, we are not.
Nope.
Oh, that just bounced backwards.
What in crap? Gotta set handbrakes. Crap. Okay, we might need to pee in a cup tonight.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what happens when there's an accident? What do we say? Pee in a cup, pee in a cup.
Well, I'll get ready for it.
How's that even? Like, how's that possible? The switch was lined in our favor, wasn't it?
I
Should
must have
be
missed
my.
that.
Nah, because it's pointing in the right direction. The handle
That's a-
couldn't have moved because my boiler's jammed right into the handle.
That's a good one.
Screenshot.
Need a place to publicly post our derailment photos from stream. Ah, see, this is the shot right here. That's lined for you. That's weird. And
I relined it as trying to salvage.
Oh. Well, while they're dealing with that, how about we go and go take a look at the operations over in Hill Valley Yard for the Woods branch.
So,
Once we get our engine away.
so is this switch supposed to be lined for the long siding?
I'm trying to think. We were talking about that a couple weeks back. I think we were having conversations like it should just stay lined for the long siding. Cause then the iron ore branch trains can just come in on the long runner, grab their helpers and head out up the long runner, since they usually have a set out or pickup here. Versus the 400 series stuff, which is just going straight through and up to the coal mine. Or the passenger train, which is just going straight through and up to the coal mine. I think we had a conversation about it, but I don't remember deciding on anything there.
Huh.
And, see, that worked out. Getting to watch them. Our fire temp is dropping, which is good. And we're rolling away back into the hole here at the pocket track, the engine pocket. Now I gotta run and go catch 20.
Yeah, bring it back a little bit more, Squiggy. That's good.
Oh. I don't got it. It hit the end of the end of track device.
Ah.
We'll roll off the end of track device a little bit there. And give it a little bit of steam pressure. Open up our cylinder cocks. Handbrakes. That's on all the way. Oh, wait, no, this doesn't have a handbrake.
Okay.
We don't drain this. That's right. Never mind. So we don't need to let this thing go out. But it is good to let the fire die. Alright. Brakes on. Cylinder cocks are closed. We'll center our reverser. Center our reverser. And I don't need to pin the throttle. I don't need to lock the throttle because it doesn't have one of those. And let's head back to Hill Valley Yard. And what's the quickest way to do that? Respawn. And we'll take a look at the Woods Branch operations. And we'll do a turn with the Woods Branch. And that's, yeah, talk about how that differs from how the smelter operations work. Because they do work differently. Alright, let's see, what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 cars. Alright, we'll get lucky number 13 fired up here. Kick that bar forward. Whistle off. And start rolling ahead. Looks like it's got a full tank of water. We have the the woods branch operations. And how this works, and you're probably thinking, well, how is this different than the smelter? Because the woods branch trains all leave out of the spawn yard here. Everything gets staged here for woods branch trains. So it has its own yard. How is that unlike an interchange? It's not. Yards absolutely have designated tracks for designated trains. It's how you keep it organized, because otherwise, the crews need to go find something new every time. No, you want to be able to tell your crew to go find this train on this track, because that's the Allentown track. That's the track for the Washington Secondary. Yeah, in Allentown. So you know where the track is, so you know where to find it every time. So that's one key difference
Hold
there.
up, Twiggy.
Alright, got that stop, brake on. And knock off our handbrakes.
Well,
Cars just hate this curve.
Alright, handbrakes are knocked off. As we're heading out of here, we'll keep talking about this. So, smelter branch, it's its own operations, it's getting waybills. Here, we're not getting cars from a different railroad, we're at the main hub. So all the cars we're getting are from this hub. Everything that's going there is coming from here. So it's not interchanging, but you're gonna say, oh well, Plateau, you're getting cars. That's also a hub. You're getting cars to there. You're getting cars to bring to the smelter from there. It's all in how you make it work for your railroad. Could this be its own railroad and we're running under trackage rights on the Ahsokan, Mohawk, and Western? 100%. That's how this could work. Is that how it works in my brain? No. So is that how it works on the AM and W? No. In the game, you kind of got to come up with your fictional histories. And that's how this is working here. This could easily work as its own shortline railroad, where it's getting cars brought in, the AM and W is switching it out into its own little yard here, and it's running under trackage rights to its own railroad starting at Woods. It could 100% work that way. And there's no reason why it couldn't, other than I don't want it to. And we're going to have stuff like that coming up, especially with the spline update coming out. The new railroads, the V2 of the AM and W is kind of getting constructed to work that way. To craft these different scenarios to be able to talk about, to be able to teach and instruct. And I, as dispatcher, have given myself permission and was typing up a train order for myself to run extra to the sawmill. And we are approaching Oh, sorry about that. Allergies are crazy. We are approaching the end of tonight's class, so if you do have any last-minute questions out there, drop those in the chat. Happy to answer them. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know if you have any questions about shortline railroading, topics you want us to cover in the future, or how much you love us and want to see us keep doing this, or any kind of crazy merch you want. You know, we've joked about doing diplomas in the past. Virtual engineer's license, I don't know, something fun and silly like that. Ease off on my throttle here. Set you like that. It's like a good railroader, I gotta normal up my switches behind me, and that means simply set them back to the direction I found them. And just waiting on this car here to clear the... It should be to clear the movable points, but for some reason it's programmed to the frog here. So once I see that clear the frog, I can toss that switch and run on up here. As it passes me, toss that switch. And extra 13 south is clear of Hill Valley yard limits. I'm looking ahead at those points. Looks like I got one switch for me. Can't quite make out that second one yet. One line for me. I'm leaning into my screen link. That's gonna help me see any better. Like I would lean further out on the real thing. Like that's also gonna help me see any better, but it's being ridiculous. Off on that a little bit there. Normal position for this switch is actually lined for the crossover. So that way mainline trains just need to throw one switch as they're coming through. I'm technically running the wrong way up the double track here, but I'm the dispatcher. I could tell myself to do what I want. Alright,
Train 300 to dispatch.
Yeah, go ahead, 300.
After 84 years, we have finally heading technically northbound out of Plateau toward iron ore mine.
Alright, copy that. 300 is leaving Plateau Yard for iron ore mine after 84 years and 36 minutes.
Yep.
And you may have noticed there, Squiggy did say technically northbound, because if we look at our map, the iron ore mine is actually on the southern half of the map, but because any train that leaves Hill Valley Yard, the direction you leave Hill Valley Yard determines your direction. So if you leave Hill Valley Yard, and that's the freight depot on the map here. Sorry, I have a switch here I need to worry about that I should probably be on the lookout for before I start monologuing. Okay, that's lined correctly. So, from the freight depot, anything that leaves there going north is a northbound train, regardless of where it heads on the map. So you are a northbound train to the coal mine, even though you're going south. Even though you turn south to get there. You still left the freight depot or Hill Valley Yard northbound. Whereas, conversely, anything leaving the freight depot / Hill Valley Yard southbound is considered a southbound train. Understood? Now you're probably asking, well, how does it work getting back? Because you leave the coal mine, you have to go north to get to the freight depot. Well, the direction you're entering Hill Valley Yard from is the direction your train is. So here, you're entering the freight depot from the north, and heading south. so you're a southbound train. It's whatever you hit the northbound yard limit. Obviously, you can't be a northbound train entering the northbound yard limit. You have to be a southbound train. I hope that makes sense. It's very confusing. I will admit, every railroad kind of had their own standard there. But as we are arriving at the sawmill here, I do want to thank everyone for watching tonight. Coming on out to Shortline Railroading 102. Hope you learned a little bit about how a shortline works, understanding your waybills, and you use this to create the second version of your railroad post-spline update. Because you know we have those building tools coming out Friday, so a lot of us are going to be experimenting with those, rebuilding, and we hope you think about, you know, maybe creating a terminal railroad off of your main line, and it's serving in an industry, two industries, what have you. So maybe you take a little bit of this and work it into how you're building that next. Or you think, hey, shortline railroading sounds cool, I want to go work there. Also awesome, because shortline railroading is where it's at. It is the it's where railroading's at right now. It's where the cool stuff is happening. Cause it's not class ones, it's not Wall Street. So maybe talking about shortline railroading tonight has inspired you to go get involved in shortline railroading, and I say, absolutely, go do it. Well, we hope you enjoyed tonight. This shortline railroading is my passion. It's where I got my start in railroading. It's where my heart and soul are, and I greatly miss doing it full time every day, and going out there working freight, switching the yards, drilling out industries. It's just such a fun time. And I'm sad we didn't get to talk a little bit more about that part tonight, cause I monologued too much. But it is coming up to the end of our 2-hour stream, and we are trying to stick to 2 hours from now on. Cause that's how long a typical course would be, and we're trying to stick with that academy theme. I don't want to call it collegiate, but you get the point. Grab a little more break there, cause we're going pretty damn fast. Kick it off because I grabbed too much. But from all of us here at the Virtual Railroader Academy, Railroaders Play Railroads Online, this was Shortline Railroading 102. I'm your host, Professor Casey, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.
Good night, y'all.